The winter season is finally here, and after the incredible year that was 2022, there was a lot to live up to. Luckily, it seems 2023 is off to a pretty great start, with a good number of anime worth checking out. The highly beloved has finally received an anime adaptation, something that'll be a wild ride, whether it sticks the landing or not. Vinland Saga has returned with the much anticipated Season 2, and despite the different direction it's taking, is sure to be just as quality as the first. Trigun is randomly getting a new edition, and though many may be off-put by the switch to 3D animation, Studio Orange has proven so far that they're up to the challenge. Overall, this winter season is looking to be quite promising. But I don't want to talk about any of those shows. What I really want to talk about is the magical revolution of the reincarnated princess and the genius young lady. I swear sometimes these names are ridiculous. Is a series that caught my attention right away. If any of you are familiar with my channel by now, you may have noticed that I have a slight fondness for Yuri. So when I learned that there was going to be a Yuri Isekai anime this season, it's no exaggeration to say that I was Chainsaw Man levels of hyped, though I'm not too proud to admit that. What I didn't expect though, was for the show to actually be good? Shocking. I know. Isekai anime are a dime a dozen these days, so standing out in the genre has become much more difficult. Most of the successful isekai add a unique twist to help distinguish themselves from the competition, be that a darker take or a comedic parody of the tropes. So, what does Tensai Ojo bring to the table then? Yuri. In all seriousness though, the series comes off as more of a fantasy rather than an isekai. Because of the lesser focus on the reincarnation aspect, greater emphasis is placed on the actual world itself. Most of episode 1 is dedicated to setting up the power dynamics of the royal families, while also slowly introducing the motivation of its characters. There were many times I had even forgotten it was an isekai since the show never really flaunts that fact. The only time the concept is referenced is through the vague recollections of our lead character, the princess, a lovable ball of fun that channels Chisato levels of energy. Her goals stem from vague memories of a past life, but aside from occasional thoughts recalling such, the series mostly acts as a straightforward fantasy. Regarding our other lead, the aforementioned genius young lady, while being on the complete opposite spectrum of her counterpart, does have a compelling setup, with plenty of opportunity to grow as a character. The few episodes we've gotten thus far have done a pretty good job at establishing and developing the relationship between these two. The use of magic also has a bit more depth to it, and could take the story in many different directions. The animation isn't anything too impressive, but the artwork and style is very beautiful, giving the show a storytale type of vibe. The music also helps contribute to the fantasy aesthetic, adding a nice bit of subtlety. I've become pretty hooked on the series, and have even gone out and picked up what's available of the manga. There's already been some key differences I've noticed between the two, but it seems as if the anime is going out of its way to strengthen the material, something I'm all in for. Honestly, Tensai Ojo is just a cute series overall, one filled with some good laughs, though is something that offers a bit more substance than you'd think. The world has a lot more going on under the surface, and there are moments I expect to be genuinely hype later on in this adaptation. It's so far my biggest surprise of this year, and is something I anticipate getting more popular as time goes on. While there are plenty of other great shows airing, I do highly recommend checking this one out. Now with all that said, some of you might be wondering, was the actual purpose of this video just to talk about my crippling obsession with Yuri? Yes.